Ever since he was just a little kid, he's been obsessed with manhwa. It wasn't just a hobby, it was a way of life. But every time he flipped through those pages, he felt a nagging annoyance. Something about the main characters just didn't sit right with him. He sighs, thinking they were all just incredibly lame. He dreams of the ultimate trope. The guy who acts like a total loser to stay under the radar, only to unleash godlike power when things get real. From his earliest memories, he's craved that hidden, overpowered life. Years rolled by and he found his true calling. He became a master of the shadow life, his specialty, saving the day without anyone ever knowing he did a thing. He wonders why everything feels so suspiciously easy lately. He's clearing paths and moving obstacles that usually take a village to handle. It's like some invisible hand is doing the heavy lifting for him. Wait, was he almost spotted just now? He decides to call it a day before his secret identity gets blown wide open. Maybe he'll help the fruit uncle tomorrow. After 10 years of secret heroics, he's become quite the professional ghost. Just as he survives another day of being a total mystery, he gets absolutely flattened by an 8-ton truck. That's one way to go out. He wakes up in a daze, wondering where in the world he is. He's certain he was just turned into roadkill. Suddenly, he realizes he's been transported to a world of swords and sorcery. A mysterious figure approaches, claiming to have been waiting for his pure soul. The goddess of this world, Hersha, appears and announces his resurrection. He's skeptical. Does she actually know who he is? Of course she does. She's been watching him help people from the shadows for years. His selflessness actually left the gods in total shock. It was so shocking, she had to say it twice for emphasis. He realizes his hidden life wasn't as hidden as he thought. So much for being a master of discretion. He couldn't even fool the gods. Well, that's just awkward. Hersha finds his predicament absolutely hilarious. She offers him a divine blessing. He can be anything his heart desires in this new world. Hero, demon king, dragon, or even the king of hell. The choice is his. She demands he make his pick right now. He doesn't hesitate for a second and said HSC. He wants to be a hidden strength character, or HSC for short. He screams his demand. He's not settling for anything else. The goddess is confused, thinking he's choosing a path of weakness. He shows off his new life. It's hot, then it's cool, it's a whole vibe. Look at him, keeping things clean and casual. He grumbles that this isn't a real hidden character. It's too flashy. With a blinding flash of speed, our hero unleashes a devastating strike right into the beast's face. The monster doesn't even see it coming. The onlookers are stunned. Where on earth did that power come from? Hersha finally gets it. Even with godlike strength, he just wants to be an ignored nobody. He's completely committed to the bit. She grants his wish. He'll be born as a humble commoner. Finally, the dream. She promises his power will dwarf any hero or demon. But there's a catch. The moment he reveals his true strength, his heart will literally explode. He panics. Wait, he didn't sign up for a ticking time bomb. The goddess ignores his protests and sends him off, praying he finds peace in his lonely, hidden life. Seriously, can't this goddess listen for 2 seconds? Well, it could be worse, right? A lethal pack of blood-eyed beasts emerges from the shadows, hungry for the kill. There is no escape from their razor-sharp fangs. He realizes he's the strongest one in this entire zip code. Honestly, having this kind of power is pretty refreshing. Oh wait, it wasn't 5 monsters after all. He zips across the battlefield so fast everyone is left wondering if he's a ghost. He figures if there are no witnesses left, his heart is perfectly safe. 11 down, 0 to go. Time to head back home. He's gonna clear the whole map. That's much better. No monsters, no people, just pure peace and quiet. Time to head back to the village as the 9-year-old Urian. A voice calls out his name. Someone's asking where he's been, and he plays the "My Stomach Hurts" card. His Nuna lectures him for wandering off while being so weak and fragile. She reminds him of the wolf packs waiting to tear him apart. He tries to play it cool, acting like he's oblivious to the danger. It's supposedly the priest's prayers keeping them safe and the farming easy. He wishes the wolves would just disappear forever. The local bully kicks dirt at him, calling him trash. A warning to all the orphans. Stay put or else. The director calls out for Urian. He mocks Urian for being small, weak, and completely useless. Someone checks if he's okay, but he just grunts in pain to keep up the act. He offers a pathetic apology to sell the performance. The director orders them to clear out and get back to work. The children are threatened with being wolf-fed if they don't sing the song perfectly. Now, this is the true life of a hidden master. Being an orphan is tough, but he's got his cover story locked down. He's genuinely happy to be playing the role. They sing for the director, pretending everything is just peachy. They sing about the village people and how much they owe them. The villagers look on, touched by how kind and hard-working these poor orphans are. The director is hailed as a saint for taking in these helpless kids. The villagers are so moved they're practically throwing chickens at them. The starving children gather in the shadows, clinging to their meager scraps of food. In this cold, desolate world, even a single bite is a desperate fight for survival. The girl whispers to him. She's confused why they're eating potatoes when they got a chicken. She tells him to shut up and eat. Being inside is better than starving out there. He quietly curses the director under his breath. He signals the other kids. He's got a surprise. It's the special of the day. They can't believe their eyes. Actuales. He stole them from the auntie and tells them to hide them in the potatoes immediately. His Nuna is thrilled. It's a feast for them tonight. He tries to give his portion to her. She's shocked he's offering his share. She warns him that if he stays this skinny, the director will just toss him out. He insists he's fine. She needs the energy more than he does. She refuses to let him starve, but he's stubborn. His stomach growls, betraying his lie. The red-haired girl desperately tugs at her companion's sleeve, sparking a tense standoff over the precious scraps of food. With blank stares and high stakes, the race for survival begins. He realizes he's pushed her too far. He forces a laugh and tells her to eat up. She's not falling for it. She knows he's hungry too. Suddenly, a shopkeeper interrupts them. Enraged, he strikes out at them. He screams at them to get lost, claiming they're scaring away his customers. He threatens to kill them if they ever come back. Even when he's being treated like dirt, he stays in character. She notices he's just as alone as she is. She introduces herself as Ella and tells him to follow her. The orphanage is a nightmare, but at least there's a roof over their heads. His stomach reminds him who's really in charge. Ella pleads with someone to take him in. "So boy," she says. She guarantees he'll be a top-tier laborer. He calls out to his Nuna. They dream of escaping to the Magic Academy. She can study there and eat all the food she could ever want. The thought of endless food makes his day. They're finally making a move. A pact is made, they're going together or not at all. A tender moment of warmth pierces through the darkness as the children embrace their red-haired protector. In a world of shadows, this fleeting spark of love is their only sanctuary. They dream of the day they can eat until they're stuffed. No more hard labor. It's time for books and magic. They just need to survive long enough to escape this hellhole together. The director interrupts with great news. He announces that Ella has been adopted and everyone should celebrate. She's heartbroken to leave them behind, crying as she apologizes. They pretend to be happy for her, though they're dying inside. The director has even more good news, this time for Urian. He's been chosen as the sacrifice for the wolf god. What an honor! Ella screams, realizing the director lied about taking care of Urian. The director asks Urian if he knows why the wolves stopped attacking. He plays along, nodding. The truth is much darker than the priest's prayers. They've been feeding the wolves to keep them quiet. And the wolf god has a refined taste for young meat. He mocks Urian for being too weak to be useful for anything else. The orphanage's real purpose is revealed. It's a human farm. The director silences the protests. Ella tries to jump in, offering herself to save Urian. Terror grips her as a massive fist slams into the wall just inches from her face. There's nowhere left to run. The director warns her not to damage the merchandise. He tells her to keep her mouth shut or things will get ugly. If you're enjoying this recap, smash that like button and subscribe for more. Urian is ordered to stay behind as everyone else is commanded to grab their brooms and get lost. Urian sighs, wondering what on earth he is supposed to do now. Is he expected to hunt down a wolf god or head off on some secret mission? He's clearly out of his depth. A sudden shout of "Urian!" rings out, snapping him out of his internal monologue. Wide-eyed and wearing a delicate floral crown, she stares in total bewilderment. What could possibly have caught her off guard? She calls out a single, sharp name, El. Urian stammers, questioning if that is actually Ella Nuna standing before him. The door creaks open to reveal a mysterious girl with piercing eyes. Her sudden appearance changes everything. Urian is baffled, pointing out the drastic change in her hair. She laughs, asking how he likes her DIY haircut. It's meant to look just like his. There's no time for chit-chat. She demands he swap clothes with her immediately. Even though they are women's clothes, she insists that since he's so thin, he'll fit just fine. Urian is mortified, stammering about the absurdity of wearing a dress. She cuts him off with a grim resolve. She is going to be the sacrifice. Urian is horrified, asking if she even understands the fatal consequences of that role. She reveals that her younger brother was the previous sacrifice, and she knows exactly what it entails. She grips him by the shoulders, shouting his name with desperate intensity. She confesses that when they first met, she thought her brother had come back to life. She admits that their striking similarity is exactly why she felt so protective of him all this time. Urian chokes out a soft, heartbreaking Nuna. She pleads with him to run away, refusing to watch another brother die. Urian begs her to run away with him instead, questioning why she is so obsessed with martyrdom. She explains that fleeing together would get them caught instantly. Those adults are terrifyingly fast. She has a plan. Once the director sees her new haircut, he'll be so enraged he'll start beating her. She knows how the director loses track of time when he's violent. That's Urian's window to escape the village. She looks him dead in the eye, calling his name one last time. She commands him to live on in her place. She isn't exactly going to a vacation spot anyway, so she'd rather sacrifice herself to give him a chance at life. The director storms in, demanding to know what happened to her hair. Ella stammers, trying to offer a weak excuse to the terrifying director. The director sneers, reminding her that she is nothing more than important merchandise. He is livid, warning her that her value has just plummeted because of this stunt. Urian screams for his Nuna, witnessing the confrontation unfold. The director's true nature begins to surface in a terrifying display of power. He reveals a sickening truth. The moment her strength is truly unleashed, her heart will explode. Ella collapses as the strain takes its toll. The director sneers at her hairband, recognizing it all too well. He mocks her, asking if she wants to die as a sacrifice just like her brother. Ella gasps for air, suffering under the weight of his cruelty. The director decides to share a truly vile secret with his dying victim. He leans in close, whispering the horrifying truth. He is the wolf god. He boasts about being the one who personally ended her brother's life. He describes how he fed the flesh and skin to the monsters without a second thought. He sold the organs for a tidy profit, showing his true, greedy colors. He laughs, calling them useless orphans, and claiming their deaths were an honor to his wallet. He mocks her brother's kindness, recalling how the boy actually thanked him for being the sacrifice. He cackles with twisted glee, finding the boy's final moments absolutely hilarious. With a final, cruel laugh, he declares that Ella is as good as dead. A chilling silence fills the air as a dark, dangerous aura cloaks the boy's face. He's reaching his breaking point, and no one is safe. A cold blade presses against the boy's throat, sealing his fate in the shadows. Terror grips the air as he stands frozen on the brink of a lethal confrontation. The director taunts Urian, telling him his Nuna is officially gone. He mocks the memory of the woman who spent every waking moment worrying about the boy. He grins, promising to send Urian to join her in the afterlife very soon. The red-haired girl frantically tries to wake her companion, but his eerie, wide-eyed smile hides a chilling secret. Tension spikes as the true horror of their situation begins to unfold. A sudden, heart-stopping encounter shatters the silence. The mystery deepens as a chilling gaze locks onto the unsuspecting boy. A lone figure stands on the precipice, shrouded in an eerie, unsettling silence. Every shadow holds a secret as he stares into the vast, daunting void ahead. Urian questions his own hesitation in the face of death. A voice breaks his trance, asking him what he's thinking. The air turns deathly cold as he senses an ominous presence lurking in the shadows. He freezes, knowing that whatever is behind him spells nothing but pure terror. The mysterious force asks him why he insists on being a sacrifice. The breathtaking beauty stands frozen in absolute shock. What could have possibly shattered her composure? It asks if being a hero or a demon king would be simpler, or if he's just trying to hide from the world. A heavy silence falls as he stares in absolute disbelief. The shocking truth leaves him completely speechless. Urian retorts that heroes and demon kings are forced to serve others. He admits he has absolutely no interest in that kind of life. The silence breaks as a chilling declaration begins to form. What earth-shattering truth is about to be revealed? He declares his intent to use his power only for the people he personally wants to save. In a flash of cold steel, the victim is instantly decapitated. A clean, brutal strike ends it all in a heartbeat. A brutal blow sends the red-haired protagonist flying, scattering a delicate flower crown into the air. Their world tilts as they are sent crashing down in a moment of pure chaos. Urian reaches out, calling for his Nuna. He whispers an apology for being too late to save her. Absolute terror grips them as their eyes widen in disbelief. Whatever they just witnessed has shattered their world in an instant. He stammers in a state of pure shock, unable to process the carnage. He screams for Ella, desperate for any sign of life. He channels his power, shouting the command, "Heal!" A surge of energy ripples through the air. He breathes a sigh of relief, thankful that he might have reached her in time. He stutters, trying to grasp the reality of the situation. The heart hammers in his chest as the tension reaches a breaking point. A single, piercing gaze locks onto the target, signaling that things are about to get real. His heart hammers in his chest as the tension reaches a breaking point. Everything changes in this single, pulse-pounding moment. He steels his resolve, declaring he has no regrets. A heavy thud echoes through the room. Urian wonders, in his surprise, why he is still perfectly fine. Amidst the ruins of a fallen foe, A desperate protector clings to the only life that matters. The silence of the aftermath is deafening. A realization dawns on him. He finally understands. If he eliminates his enemies before they realize his true strength, he can survive this hell. He offers his thanks to the divine intervention that saved him. By the grace of the goddess Hersha, he has entered a brand new world. He managed to rescue Ella from the clutches of that vile director. Time has marched on, and it has been 4 years. For long years since that day changed everything. A bone-chilling predator emerges from the shadows, eyes glowing with lethal intent. The forest falls silent as this nightmarish beast prepares to strike. The scene shifts as the hunt begins in the dark woods. Wide-eyed and trembling, he stares into the darkness, paralyzed by a chilling, unknown threat. A bone-chilling roar erupts as the beast locks its glowing red gaze onto its prey. Death itself has arrived, and there is nowhere left to hide. Urian suddenly realizes he forgot to drink his milk this morning. He panics, lamenting that he's barely grown an inch in the last 4 years. He wonders what the average height for a 13-year-old is supposed to be. A chilling shadow looms as the beast prepares to strike. Our hero is frozen in terror, face to face with a nightmare in the dark. Wide-eyed and alert, the silver-haired boy senses something lurking in the shadows. Every nerve is on edge as he turns to face the unknown danger. The forest floor hides a chilling secret as a cursed skull awakens with glowing red eyes. Something ancient and deadly has just stirred from its slumber. He earnestly wonders if eating deer antlers will actually help him hit a growth spurt. A shout of Urian signals that Ella is nearby. The sun-drenched cathedral stands in haunting silence, hiding secrets within its ancient walls. Peace reigns here, but for how long? They are reminded that they're finally old enough to take the entrance exams for the magic school. A mysterious duo steps into the light, their innocent smiles masking a hidden, chilling agenda. Beneath that academic uniform lies a power that will shake the entire academy to its core. He asks if Sister Arlen has prepared them well for the big day. She smiles, confirming they are ready and encouraging them to keep their spirits high. The sister notes that the Lord must have had a reason for taking the director but sparing the two of them. She offers a blessing, hoping the Lord watches over them during the grueling entrance exams. They thank her, vowing to pass the exam no matter the cost. Trapped in the shadows, these desperate children cling to each other for survival. Their bond is the only light in this cold, dark prison. A mysterious number is etched into the history of their journey. The weight of their past remains, even as they look toward the future. A rare, serene moment of peace washes over our protagonist as he flashes a gentle, knowing smile. Don't let that innocent look fool you. The calm before the storm is just getting started. A rare, heart-fluttering smile spreads across his face, radiating pure, unexpected bliss. The ice-cold exterior has finally melted into a moment of perfect, blushing joy. He lets out a soft, nervous giggle. They stand before the gates of the Royal School of Magic. This legendary institution was founded by the royal family itself. Its mission is to foster talent regardless of status, creating soldiers to defend the realm from monsters. Urian is in awe, noting that you can practically smell the dignity radiating from the school gates. Piercing emerald eyes lock onto the truth with lethal intensity. A storm is brewing behind that frozen, calculating stare. He observes the crowd, noting how most students wear blue brooches, signaling their noble birth. A gasp ripples through the crowd as something catches their eye. A red brooch. Could that really be a princess of the royal family? Urian chuckles, realizing this year's exam is going to be a total circus. Ella warns him not to let his nerves get the best of him. Urian spots something else in the crowd, his curiosity piqued. Is that a black brooch? Ella reminds him to just act like they always do. Don't draw unnecessary attention. A group of snobby nobles laughs, mocking the peasants in their midst. They openly sneer at the idea of commoners daring to dream of magic school, barely bowing to the royals in their path. They point at the black brooches, declaring that those peasants can't even read, let alone cast spells. They laugh about how quickly the commoners will be eliminated, acting like the school is doing them a favor by letting them apply. A chilling, wide-eyed grin spreads across his face as he plots something truly devious. Don't let that innocent look fool you. He's clearly up to no good. The nobles agree with each other, their arrogance reaching new heights. Ella tries to pull him away before he causes a scene. She begs him to ignore the elitist trash. She tells him their status means nothing compared to the value of a human life. Urian stammers, asking her to wait for him while he tries to process the sheer audacity of the nobles. A booming voice announces that the 29th entrance exam has officially begun. The instructor explains the goal: to protect the people using nothing but sword and magic. The crowd waits in bated breath for the details of the test. Both fundamental sword skills and raw magical power will be pushed to the absolute limit. The nobles mock Urian again, laughing at the sight of his black brooch and questioning if he can even hold a sword. The instructor for the sword exam, Ga Ryunbai, steps forward to address the candidates. He lays out the simple, brutal requirement for the first round. Candidates must slash the training target behind them in a single, fluid motion. The crowd goes wild as a candidate obliterates the target with nothing but a piece of paper. If you're enjoying this recap, smash that like button and subscribe for more. The instructor calls the first name, Tien, to step up to the plate. The candidate approaches the testing grounds, nerves clearly fraying at the edges. The examiner gives the signal with a bored flick of the hand. The clock is ticking. A desperate question rings out. Does failing to shatter the target in one go result in an instant disqualification? The examiner barely looks up, brushing off the concern with complete indifference. Expectations are rock bottom, and they aren't afraid to say it out loud. They label the candidates as mere children, advising them to stop trying to impress and just do their best, which, let's be honest, probably isn't much. With a hesitant shout, the testing begins. With a wild grin, she swings her massive blade with terrifying precision. One swift strike is all it takes to shatter the opposition. The examiner sighs. That wasn't even half. Another disappointment moves to the back of the line. Chris steps up to the mark. Rishal follows, looking just as nervous as the last one. The examiner calls out for Ella next. She steps forward, ready to face the music. She whispers to her friend, convinced that simply slashing half the target is the key to passing this test. A boost of confidence. Urian's encouragement is just the fuel she needs. The examiner gives the green light, showtime. The surrounding nobles sneer, disgusted that they have to share a test with such commoners. They don't think she has a prayer of hitting the mark. She takes a deep, steadying breath, steeling her nerves. A dark memory flashes. 4 years ago, the failure to protect Urian still haunts her. With eyes burning like crimson embers, she catches something that changes everything. The tension spikes as her gaze locks onto a target she can't ignore. The air grows heavy with the weight of unseen forces. With his eyes shielded by a mysterious mask, he stands ready to unleash his hidden power. The stage is set for a confrontation that will change everything. Behind that innocent, silver-haired smile lies a gaze that could shatter worlds. Don't let the adorable face fool you. This boy is hiding a secret that's about to turn everything upside down. The crowd erupts in shock. Total disbelief. She's the first to shatter the target completely. The onlookers are losing their minds trying to figure out her secret. She makes a silent vow. She will be the one to protect Urian this time, since he's clearly the weak link. The atmosphere is electric, crackling with raw, untapped potential. The ancient relic awakens, glowing with a forbidden, pulsating power. Darkness shatters as the artifact reveals its true, lethal form. A thunderous clash echoes as steel meets steel. The sparks fly with bone-shaking intensity. A blinding aura erupts as he draws his blade, signaling the start of a legendary showdown. Even with a simple wooden sword, his raw power radiates pure intimidation. A rare moment of pure, unfiltered joy breaks through the tension. These two are beaming, But in this world, smiles can be the most dangerous weapon of all. The examiner is stunned by her talent. Now, it's Urian's turn. The cold steel glints, signaling that the deadly duel is about to reach its blood-soaked climax. The anticipation is enough to make anyone sweat. The order is given. Start whenever you're ready. A loud, strained cry echoes through the arena. The mysterious figure drops a bombshell, leaving the onlookers stunned in the shadow of the flames. A cold smirk reveals that everything is going exactly according to plan. The nobles break into cruel laughter. He couldn't even cut half. They mock the commoner, blaming his lack of nutrition for his pathetic performance. The examiner moves on, looking for the next victim. A shift in pace. It's time for the magic test. Instructor G steps up, explaining the rules. Use the magical tool to blast the target. A wave of panic. What if you can't use magic? No worries. The tool handles the heavy lifting, generating water even for the magically inept. Chris steps up first, radiating way too much confidence for someone who's about to fail. With a flick of his wand, the young mage unleashes a surging torrent of raw magical power. He strikes with flawless precision, catching everyone off guard. The instructor is impressed. That was top-tier performance. The crowd can't help but gasp at the display of power. Chris is dismissed, and it's finally Urian's turn to step up. He steps forward, buoyed by the cheers of his supporters. He grips the wand, ready to face the magic test head-on. A mysterious artifact is passed between hands, sealing a pact that could change everything. The tension is palpable as the dangerous exchange begins. The numbers don't lie, the pressure is mounting. A noble sneers, disgusted that a commoner would dare stand while receiving an item from their superior. The instructor rushes in to intervene, desperate to stop the petty bickering before it turns into a brawl. Urian remains calm, brushing off the insult with a shrug. The tension between the candidates is reaching a boiling point. The elites flash twisted smiles as they corner their target. Trouble is definitely brewing in the academy halls. A lethal smirk plays on his lips as he readies his weapon for the clash. This pint-sized prodigy is ready to dominate the arena. With a chilling smirk and lightning-fast reflexes, he makes his move. Nothing escapes those sharp, calculating eyes. He readies himself, focused entirely on the target. Wait, what is that? His eyes widen. There is something seriously wrong with this wand. A bead of sweat drips down his forehead. He realizes he's in deep trouble now. The Grand Palace stands bathed in an ethereal, golden glow, a silent witness to the secrets hidden behind its imposing stone walls. The magic school entrance test is proving to be a total nightmare. The clock keeps ticking as the crisis unfolds. Confusion reigns supreme among the onlookers. Something is definitely about to blow. Urian's internal alarm bells are screaming. He is in serious trouble. Everyone watches, frozen in place. All eyes are on Urian. The question on everyone's mind: what just happened? The tool didn't just fail. It exploded. Was it too much mana, or just a faulty device? Either way, it's a disaster. The blame game starts immediately. It must be the tool. Surely, a lowly commoner couldn't have destroyed a high-grade magical artifact. The nobles rationalized the disaster, claiming the tool was bound to break eventually. Talk about bad luck. It had to break exactly when he was holding it. Urian turns to Chris, offering a sincere thank you. A mysterious, glimmering artifact is revealed, pulsing with untold power. The strange, crystalline design hints at a secret that could change everything. Urian panics internally. He's trying to stay under the radar as a hidden powerhouse, and this is the worst possible attention. He vows to keep his guard up no matter what. The final test is announced. Head into the forest, hunt a magical bear, and bring back its molar. It doesn't matter how fancy your swordplay is. If you can't take down a real monster, you're not getting in. They need to prove they have the courage of true warriors. A hunting test? This is it. Their last chance to make it to their dream school. If you're enjoying this recap, smash that like button and subscribe for more. They share a look of determination. It's now or never. The team assignments are being revealed. Look for the light. Everyone with the same color light belongs on the same team. The light flickers red. They've found their teammates. It's a red light. Time to move out. They assemble, ready to dive straight into the forest. Jealousy erupts. How did a commoner end up on the same team as the princess? This is a golden opportunity. A chilling, calculated smirk spreads across his face as he locks onto his next target. Nothing good is about to happen. He takes his leave, ready to crush the test. The fire of competition burns bright. The nobles are relieved, at least they aren't stuck with that commoner. Urian looks around, wondering where his team is. Success. He finally spots his color. No color? That's definitely not right. A voice calls out, is that Urian? Rishal introduces himself, offering a hand to help them succeed together. Tien joins the fray, rounding out their little squad. What a relief. He's got a team after all. The crowd starts pointing and whispering. The mockery begins. Black and green on the same team? That's a disaster in the making. They laugh at the repeat candidate, calling him talentless and a commoner through and through. And then there's the girl. People whisper about her being the abandoned noblewoman. A truly pathetic lineup, according to the elite. A single look of pure shock flashes across his face as he realizes everything is about to change. The silence breaks, and the true test begins. The atmosphere turns icy as they share a heavy, unspoken secret. Silence reigns, but the tension between them is absolutely electric. The Academy's elite have arrived, and their chilling, predatory grins spell nothing but trouble. Someone is about to face a world of pain. Can they just scrape by and pass? The Academy's top prospects lock eyes, their expressions betraying nothing but pure, calculating focus. A silent tension crackles in the air as these two elites prepare for the clash of a lifetime. The forest awaits, and it's not going to be friendly. Rishal is genuinely impressed. His instincts about Urian were right. Even a commoner can see that Urian carries himself with the confidence of a true noble. They need to get into this school, no matter what. But is it even possible at this point? The previous tests were a total failure. Swordsmanship and magic both were train wrecks. A test? More like a death sentence. The reality of the situation is starting to sink in. Don't let that innocent face fool you. A chilling, predatory grin signals that the real fight is just beginning. A cold, menacing gaze locks onto its prey. The tension is reaching a breaking point. He admits it, he flunked those two. No more excuses. Time to give it everything they have. He calls out to his partner. It's fine. They can still pull this off. This is his fourth time, and he's learned that the monster test is worth the most points by far. Here is the secret to their survival. If they combine their strengths, they can actually make it through. He wonders why she's suddenly acting so cool. There's no other way. He's spiraling, begging the young noblewoman to use her connections and do something before it's too late. The pressure is becoming unbearable. They've hit rock bottom, and the reality of their situation is brutal. A cold sweat breaks as he forces a strained, uneasy smile. Something is definitely not right. Side by side in the golden forest, these two comrades prepare to face the unknown. Their quiet moment before the storm speaks volumes. What on earth are they going to do? At this rate, they're heading for a total failure. Everyone has their own baggage, but for Urian, this is the final attempt. The plan is simple. Just get the molar. Is that really all it takes? The instructions are simple, but when you're weak, hunting a bear is easier said than done. The group decides that if they can't take down the beast, they'll settle for pulling its molars instead. Disbelief fills the air, but one student claims to have a foolproof plan. They point out that the bear monster always keeps its molars exposed, a realization that hits them like a lightning bolt. He shouts that if they follow his lead, the molars are as good as theirs, even without killing the monster. Talk about a high-stakes scavenger hunt. He's feeling incredibly lucky, convinced the bear monsters are the absolute easiest targets in the exam. He commands the young miss to lather herself in a very specific substance. She looks at the strange concoction with pure confusion. It's deer blood. He explains that the bear is hypersensitive to the scent, and once it goes into a blood-fueled rage, they'll strike for the teeth. She lets out a nervous gasp. The poor girl stammers, admitting she isn't exactly a track star. He brushes her off, claiming that even if she's slow, the plan will work before she even gets caught. He insists that the bear ignores everything else while it's busy eating. She steels her nerves, ready to strike the moment the beast is distracted. In a sudden, heart-pounding move, a mysterious hand clamps down to halt the strike. The tension hits its breaking point as the attack is intercepted in midair. She gasps in surprise at the sudden interference. The newcomer coldly asks if they are trying to get her killed on purpose. Those piercing eyes lock onto the truth, signaling that the game has officially changed. A sharp mind is at work, and absolutely nothing is getting past that gaze. The antagonist sneers, mockingly asking if she doesn't want to attend school with her own sister. He dismisses the danger, claiming that sacrifices are just part of the process. He challenges them, asking if they have any other way to pass besides this one. They admit defeat, confessing that their lack of mana forces them to stay in the lower class. They argue that since they aren't born with the noble advantage, they have to stick together to survive. They justify abandoning the noblewoman, claiming it's a fair trade if it means they get to pass. With a twisted grin, they decide she's nothing more than a tool for their success. The bully mocks Miss Tien, reminding her that she failed the test yet again. He cruelly compares her to her brilliant brother, Ricky, questioning if they're even related. The tension in the air is thicker than a bowl of oatmeal. He calls her a stain on the Count's family name. She remains silent, absorbing the verbal assault. She realizes that whether she's ignored or cast aside, she has to find her own path. She believes deep down that everyone has their moment to shine, even the underdogs. She stands tall, telling them not to judge her worth based on their narrow standards. The bully loses his temper, shouting in a blind rage. Tensions flare as the confrontation reaches a boiling point. He screams that she should just die alongside the girl they abandoned. Pure bloodlust ignites as those crimson eyes lock onto their next victim. The beast lunges forward with unstoppable, bone-crushing speed. Spattered in blood and driven to the edge, she stares into the abyss with a manic, bone-chilling grin. Her sanity has officially snapped. Drenched in blood and staring blankly, the young boy stands amidst the carnage. His innocent facade has been shattered by a brutal reality. Splattered in blood, he wears a chilling grin that spells absolute disaster. The slaughter has only just begun. He screams out one final, desperate threat. He commands them to join their victims in the afterlife. A sudden, brutal ambush leaves them defenseless as blood splatters the air. Their shocking betrayal turns a peaceful moment into a nightmare of violence. The beast awakens with eyes burning in blood-red fury. Pure, unadulterated carnage is about to be unleashed. Drenched in fresh blood, his innocent gaze hides a terrifying secret. The carnage has only just begun. Blood-soaked and unhinged, she stares into the abyss with a terrifying, twisted grin. The madness has truly taken hold. With blood staining her face, her eyes widen in pure, unadulterated shock. The situation has just taken a turn for the worst. Bathed in blood and standing amidst the wreckage, he stares into the abyss with haunting eyes. The nightmare has only just begun. A frantic voice cries out that they're all going to die if this keeps up. Drenched in blood and fueled by desperation, she grips her magical artifact to unleash a final, defiant stand. The beast awakens in a blood-red frenzy, baring its jagged fangs for the kill. Pure, unadulterated carnage is about to be unleashed. Blood stains the uniform as a silent, grim reality sets in. The mission has turned deadly. Blood-soaked and trembling, She stares into the face of absolute terror. The nightmare has only just begun. They continue to sneer, calling her an embarrassment to her noble family. Blood paints her cheek as she grits her teeth in pure, unadulterated fury. The breaking point has arrived, and there's no turning back now. The ferocious beast lunges with a lethal, energy-charged strike. Sparks fly as the monster unleashes its overwhelming power. The ground erupts in a blinding surge of raw power. Our heroes stand steady as the world explodes beneath their feet. He stands his ground, making a bold declaration. He reveals his true status. He is a noble, too. The beast unleashes a terrifying roar, surging with raw, crackling power. Destruction is imminent as its blood-red aura shatters the very air. He gasps, barely catching his breath. He stares in disbelief. The attack didn't even leave a scratch. Someone quips that he's surprisingly durable, but maybe they should get him out of the line of fire. He looks up, confused by the sudden change in atmosphere. He notes the air cooling down, warning that the landing might be a bit rough. He admits he knows how to launch someone, but the landing is still a work in progress. He figures a bumpy landing is still better than being dead. A blood-curdling scream echoes through the forest. He recites the truth. No matter how much you're neglected, your time to shine will eventually come. He thanks Urian for giving him the strength to be brave. He hopes with all his might that she has managed to run far away from this death trap. A blinding flash of pure energy tears through the air with devastating speed. The battlefield erupts as a lethal strike cuts across the horizon. With a death-defying leap, she plunges into the unknown. Gravity is no match for her fearless descent. With a savage bite, he latches onto his target. The tension explodes as he sinks his teeth in. He tells the target that their time to shine has officially expired. He notes that the glasses-wearing guy ran away to avoid getting caught in the mess. Thankfully, that retreat was exactly what allowed him to save the child. He prioritizes the situation, keeping his focus sharp. It's time to collect those molars and finish the job. A monstrous beast lunges with a lethal, blood-soaked strike. The jaws of death are closing in for the kill. He wonders if he should play a little prank before the glasses guy returns. He glances around, curious about where the coward ran off to. A bead of cold sweat betrays his hidden terror. Something has pushed him to the absolute edge. He confronts them, demanding to know what they think they're doing. He reminds them that their weapons are only for monster hunting, not for turning on each other. He tries to intervene, telling the commoner girl to come over so he can help her pass. She snaps back, pointing out that only the principal has the power to pass or fail a student. What are they planning? They reveal their sinister plan to make the nobles fail so they can take their spots. One of them panics, telling their friend to keep their mouth shut. He realizes the lower class has formed an alliance, and it's all because the nobles tried to sabotage them first. He repeats his offer, challenging them to see if they can really win against him. They laugh, claiming the ones who will defeat him aren't them, before being shushed again. They reveal the true horror. They're using the bear monster to eliminate the noble students. One of them panics, screaming to kick the interloper out. His expression darkens as the pieces fall into place. He realizes why the lower-class numbers spiked this year. It was all for this setup. They clearly knew exactly how to trigger the bear's bloodlust. As a member of the royal family, he finds this entire situation deeply unfortunate. These are supposed to be the future protectors of the citizens, the elite of the Magic Academy. Instead, they're using monsters to murder their own peers. He commands Ricky to capture them all alive. He declares that anyone who uses the exam and monster traits to endanger others will face justice. The royal family will personally investigate every single one of them. With a blinding flash, a blade is whipped out in a lethal strike. There's no time to react as the steel slices through the air. The tension is so thick you could carve it with a dull butter knife. An icy, piercing gaze locks onto the target. There's no escaping those cold, calculating eyes. Silence descends, broken only by the sound of heavy breathing. He commands everyone to splash the blood and finish the ritual. An icy gaze meets a swirling sea of blood. The battlefield turns deadly as he unsheathes his blade. The air crackles with terrifying energy as he unleashes his dormant, overwhelming power. A cold, dead stare is all that remains before the chaos begins. She looks down, her voice trembling. The blood, it's drying up. He stands tall, ordering them all to surrender immediately. Their grand plan has completely fallen apart. Her eyes widen in utter shock as a chilling realization hits home. What kind of nightmare is she facing now? This is it. This year is their one and only chance, and it will never come again. If they get caught now, it's all over for their future. He rallies the group, screaming at them not to give up. They let out grunts of pain and pure frustration. He stares them down, asking exactly how far they intend to go. The situation is spiraling out of control. It's a total disaster even by low-class standards. They count the opponents. 4 of them. The tension is absolutely suffocating. They refuse to be caught, cursing the nobles as they prepare one last desperate move. Eyes wide with pure shock, he stares up at a threat he never saw coming. Everything is about to change in an instant. He scolds them, telling them not to hurt themselves just because their plan failed. He reminds them that they are still citizens of this kingdom. The onlookers whisper that he's on a completely different level. They groan in defeat. He remembers that his sister was actually in their group. A light bulb goes off. So that's how it is. Both the brother and sister were caught up in this mess. He cruelly taunts them, saying their younger siblings are probably already dead. He claims the bears would have devoured them by now, though he tosses out a sarcastic, maybe they're lucky, for good measure. He screams for Ricky to go check for survivors, hoping against hope that there's something left. He orders Urian to stay put. She asks why she has to stay behind. Her sibling is out there too. He empathizes with the fear of losing family, but he has to be realistic. He tells her she'd only get in the way. If the bears really attacked, the site would be a total bloodbath. The scent of blood would draw every monster in the forest. There could be 20 or more. Ricky is skilled enough to handle them alone, but protecting her would be impossible. He tells her to have faith in Ricky and wait here with him. He keeps his eyes on the horizon. He calls out to Urian, trying to keep her focused. The wait is agonizing. He catches sight of Tien. A chilling glare pierces through the silence. Something has caught his eye, and there's no turning back now. He gasps, realizing the newcomer isn't the glasses-wearing coward he was expecting. If you're enjoying this recap, smash that like button and subscribe for more. He spots the black brooch and realizes with a jolt that there's a survivor left in the shadows. Defeated and bleeding, our hero lies helpless as a lethal blade presses against his throat. The end is near. Is this finally the finish line? The color drains from his face as a sudden, chilling realization hits him. Pure shock takes hold as he stares into the face of unexpected danger. He bellows in outrage, daring his attacker to make the next move. He nods with grim satisfaction, confirming his darkest suspicions. He notes that some pests are harder to squash than others, confirming that remnants are still lurking about. Left broken and bleeding in the grass, our hero faces a cold, lethal end. A monstrous tail strikes, sealing a fate of absolute despair. His voice thunders with indignation as he questions the audacity of his opponent. Steel rings against steel in a blinding flash of raw power. The duel reaches a fever pitch as blades collide with earth-shattering force. With eyes locked on the target, he unleashes a razor-sharp strike of pure mana. The forest trembles as his blade cuts through the air with lethal precision. He sarcastically remarks that a surprise attack like that is a bit reckless, don't you think? He growls, asking if his opponent truly thought they'd walk away unscathed after daring to touch his little sister. Our hero is utterly baffled. His little sister? Who on earth is he talking about? He frantically waves his hands, begging his opponent to cool down and hear the truth before someone loses a limb. He tries to clarify that he isn't a remnant, but he's getting nowhere fast. The air is tense, and our hero is just praying he doesn't get decapitated by a misunderstanding. He lets out a startled yelp as he barely manages to dodge the incoming strike. He gasps in relief, noting that his helmet was nearly cleaved in two. Talk about a close shave. He frantically casts a wind shield, praying it holds up against the relentless barrage. With a skeptical glare, the attacker eyes the suspicious helmet and the unconscious sister, clearly not buying the peasant's story. He begrudgingly admits that since the guy managed to dodge his attacks, he probably isn't a remnant after all. Impressed by his opponent's reflexes, he decides to stop trying to kill him for now and offer a proper introduction. He puffs out his chest, introducing himself as Ricky, eldest son of the Viscount and servant to the Wind Spirit. Why? Our hero tries to play it cool, but he can't help but cringe at the dramatic introduction. Name's Yuri Sungung, he mutters. Ricky narrows his eyes, deciding to give this Yuri Sungung a chance to explain himself. He demands to know if Yuri has any idea who is responsible for his sister's current state. Yuri stammers, trying to find the words to explain that he might have accidentally knocked her out. With a chilling grin, he scoops up his unconscious prize. The forest holds its breath as he claims his victory. He mumbles under his breath, wondering if things could get any more awkward. He tries to clarify that, yes, he did knock her out, but surely that doesn't make him the villain, right? Ricky snaps, declaring that if the talk doesn't work, he's going to smash that ugly helmet to pieces. Yuri sighs internally, realizing that communication really isn't his opponent's strong suit. He checks his watch, noting that he really needs to go collect his molars soon. Priorities, right? He suggests they pick this conversation back up later, hoping to live long enough to see it. Electricity crackles in the air as he catches a sudden, shocking shift in the tide. The tension is palpable. He's locked in and ready to strike. The world freezes as their eyes lock in a moment of pure, heart-stopping intensity. Everything else fades away as the gravity of the situation hits home. But before he can blink, the situation takes a sharp turn. He smirks, confident that he has completely decoded his opponent's fighting style. He grips his sword tightly, bracing for the final clash. Crackling energy surges as he unleashes a devastating strike. The battlefield trembles before his overwhelming power. He sneers, declaring that his blade is simply too fast for anyone to follow. The numbers flash by, counting down to the inevitable collision. He cries out in triumph, convinced he's finally landed a clean hit. A cold, calculating gaze pierces through the darkness. The predator has locked onto its target. The blade ignites with a lethal surge of mana as he prepares to strike. He's locked onto his target, and there's no turning back now. He looks around, bewildered, wondering where his target went. He lets out a pained grunt as the impact finally registers. He stares in total disbelief. When did his opponent move behind him? The mysterious masked figure strikes, leaving his opponent crumbling to the ground in total defeat. One swift move is all it took to end the fight. He whispers in shock, realizing that was nothing more than a mere afterimage. The booming announcement echoes across the grounds. The 29th entrance exam has officially concluded. The Grand Estate basks in the morning sun, hiding the dangerous secrets that lurk behind its pristine walls. A new chapter of high-stakes drama begins right here. The official reports on the monster attacks, noting that the princess handled the culprits personally. A staff member beams about the high quality of this year's students, but someone else is clearly having a meltdown in the background. The critic scoffs, claiming the year was a total disaster and the commoners caused nothing but trouble. He pleads with his colleague to keep quiet, reminding him that the school is supposed to be status blind. He retorts that the school is actually a playground for nobles, citing the sage himself as proof. She snaps, telling him to leave her father's name out of his elitist nonsense. She finally reaches her limit and shouts for everyone to be quiet. She commands the staff to finish the debriefing and get on with it. He stammers, terrified of the tension in the room. He announces that 29 students passed, and it's time to reveal the top 10. The list goes up, and the students scramble to see if their names made the cut. Princess Suruti takes the top spot, as expected. Yuri Sungung is listed at second place, leaving everyone wondering where the guy actually is. The student in third place is beaming, already thinking about how proud their mother will be. Jade, the magic swordsman, secures his position on the leaderboard. The fourth and fifth spots are claimed, showing the competition was fierce. A sister complains that her sibling didn't take the lead, but the sister reminds her it's all down to personal evaluation. The stakes have never been higher as we enter the sixth round of this high-octane showdown. The tension is reaching a boiling point. A commoner is shocked to find herself in sixth place, wondering where Yuri went. The minister's son is absolutely livid, screaming that the commoner must have cheated. The rankings continue, pushing the drama to new heights. Reizo the hooligan is clearly not having a good day and is ready to start a fight with someone. The ninth spot is filled, and the tension is palpable. A fan of the princess is starstruck, hoping for a chance to become friends. Hina, the princess's biggest fan, is just happy to be included. The final spot of the top 10 is revealed. Someone whispers that the long-haired guy looks like a total jerk, and they should definitely steer clear. The slit-eyed Goliath makes the list, looking as menacing as ever. Tien from the Wind Spirit tribe sighs, barely managing to scrape into 24th place. His sibling is ecstatic, marveling at how amazing he is. He breaks into a manic, slightly unsettling laugh. The laughter continues, growing louder and more unhinged by the second. His smile vanishes, he's failed, and the reality is sinking in. A chilling realization dawns as his eyes widen in pure, unadulterated madness. The trap is set, and the predator is ready to strike. The rumor spreads like wildfire. Urian failed the exam. He's spiraling, questioning how he could have possibly failed after all his effort. She rushes over to him, relieved that he made it out of that trap in one piece. She admits she wanted to come rescue him, but he just smiles and tells her he's perfectly fine. He congratulates her on her amazing sixth-place finish, reminding her of the perks that come with it. She laughs it off, claiming it was just plain luck and hoping for a repeat next year. He freezes, realizing the implications of her words. He declares he's not enrolling. They're going to do it together next year. They had a goal to attend together, and he's sticking to it. They start laughing, joking about how they can just fail together next time. The laughter continues, a bit too loud for the somber occasion. They keep giggling, trying to mask their disappointment with humor. Even in failure, they manage to keep their spirits high. It's a bit pathetic, but at least they have each other, right? The laughter rings out, echoing through the empty halls. He contemplates if he should just punch the guy in the face and call it a day. He pauses, reconsidering his violent impulses. He stands up, declaring that these results are completely unacceptable. The proctor sighs, noting that the results were exactly what everyone expected. He insists that failing Urian is a massive mistake that needs to be corrected immediately. The others chime in, noting that while he brought the evidence, he didn't technically do the work himself. They critique his swordsmanship, saying it just didn't measure up to his sister's. He shouts back, insisting that Urian has untapped potential that everyone is ignoring. The room breaks into mocking laughter at the suggestion. The laughter continues, dismissive and cruel. They chant "fail" in unison, clearly enjoying the chaos. The cries of "fail" get louder, showing no mercy. He wonders again if hitting them would solve this problem. He stands up, shouting that he has an emergency announcement to make. He announces that one extra student will be admitted, and the crowd goes wild with anticipation. He names Urian as the special admission, leaving everyone in stunned silence. Whispers erupt, a commoner being specially admitted. That's unheard of. She rushes to congratulate him, thrilled that they can actually enroll together. He stands there, completely confused by the sudden turn of events. The professor stands her ground, insisting that Urian's potential is far too great to waste. She points out that he had enough raw power to blow up the exam equipment. She highlights his insane control, noting how he restrained himself to prevent a catastrophe. Letting a talent like that slip away would be a tragedy for the kingdom. If you're enjoying this recap, smash that like button and subscribe for more. The critics argue he lacks experience, pointing to the monster incident as proof. She counters that school is exactly where you go to get that experience. An elitist scoffs, asking if a commoner really deserves a spot at their prestigious institution. She fires back, calling out the professor for his blatant and pathetic discrimination. The principal finally steps in, ordering everyone to stand down. He declares that the school exists to foster talent, and status is entirely irrelevant. He gives his full support to Professor G, trusting her judgment implicitly. He reminds the room that she is one of the nation's greatest heroes. If she's willing to vouch for him, then they would be fools to ignore it. He officially exercises his authority to admit Urian as a special student. But there is one final, heavy condition. If he fails to live up to the high expectations set for him, he will be expelled without a second thought. A heartwarming reunion sparks pure magic as they drift through the air in perfect harmony. Their radiant smiles say it all. The bond between them is stronger than ever. He looks at Urian, wondering if he really has what it takes. He gestures to show how tall he thought the stranger was. The background fades as they prepare for the journey ahead. A mysterious masked figure looms over the fallen warrior, closing in for the final strike. The air grows heavy with the scent of impending defeat. Pure, unadulterated madness takes hold as a chilling grin creeps across his face. He's completely lost it. A chilling gaze cuts through the room, locking onto his target with icy intensity. Silence falls, he's clearly not amused. The young warrior stands in the silent training hall, his gaze locked on the target with steely determination. He's ready to push past his limits and master the blade. The silence shatters as the ancient stone monument crumbles into dust. A powerful force has finally unleashed its destruction. He stares at the destruction, refusing to believe that such power belongs to a mere student. Everyone is left speechless, wondering what kind of monster they just let into the school. He shrugs, deciding that the outcome was acceptable enough for today. The sun rises on a new day, marking the start of a journey that will test their limits. Whispers circulate through the halls about the legendary top 10 students. Everyone is buzzing because the mysterious special admission student has actually been placed in the advanced class. The duo arrives at their destination, and while one is shaking with nerves, the other is clearly over the stiffness of it all. The door swings wide with a deafening creak, shattering the silence. Whatever's waiting on the other side is about to change everything. The room is packed with elites, including Rank 2 Ricky and the formidable Rank 1, Saruti. Eyes widen as they spot the heavy hitters. Rank 4 Sia and Rank 5 Mu are standing right there. It's a literal who's who of power, featuring Rank 3 Jade, Rank 10 Goliath, and Rank 9 Hina. The princess is even here, looking cooler than ever. Chaos ensues as they scramble for seats, feeling like they've been tossed back into elementary school, while Urian tries to keep his cool. Urian observes the room, unimpressed. He's expecting medieval tech, not a magical revolution. A voice cuts through the air like a knife. Rank 8 Rezo demands they move, and he's not asking nicely. Urian wonders if this guy is the school bully. Spoilers, he definitely is. A startled shout echoes as the confrontation escalates. Rank 7 Chris steps in, his gaze sharp and judgmental. Urian doesn't miss a beat, staring him down without a hint of fear. Chris scoffs, lecturing them on how commoners should be grateful just to exist in their presence. Urian snaps back, calling the noble a bastard to his face. Rezo tries to pull rank, reminding everyone he's a 7, not an 8. Imagine caring that much about a number. He commands them to never be late again, acting like he's the king of the classroom. Urian challenges him directly, questioning if a higher rank actually makes him stronger. He dares the noble to keep talking, hinting that the test was just a warm-up. Does he have a death wish? Panic sets in for Urian's companion as the situation spirals into a full-blown brawl. Ella sighs, clearly done with this display of fragile male egos. A sudden, shy flush creeps across his cheeks as he gazes forward with wide, sparkling eyes. Something has him completely captivated. He's genuinely hyped about how soft the chairs are. It's the little things in life, right? Jade makes an enthusiastic, if slightly awkward, introduction. Ella tries to smooth things over, keeping it friendly despite the tension in the room. Jade is shocked a commoner made it this far, calling it an unprecedented honor. They agree to be friends, but Urian can see right through that desperate act. The conversation turns to Urian's status as a special admission student, and he drops the truth. They aren't biological siblings. A sudden, chilling realization hits him right in the heart. He's left completely stunned by the unexpected truth. Ella's swordsmanship is legendary, making her the perfect poster child for the advanced class. The challenge is laid out. Show the world what you're capable of, or get out. With a sharp, chilling smirk, he sets his sinister plan into motion. Don't let that innocent face fool you. Trouble is brewing. A soft whisper of his name hangs in the air, tinged with uncertainty. The towering gates of the Grand Academy loom ahead, radiating an aura of absolute mystery and power. Our protagonist stands before this imposing fortress, where their destiny is about to be rewritten forever. The first day ends with a whimper rather than a bang. Tomorrow the Real test begins, and curiosity is starting to get the better of them. They stand before the magical academy, soaking in the gravity of the moment. They decide to make the most of their time before the rest of the family arrives. Noble students sneer at the sight of commoners, their arrogance radiating off them. They openly question how the school standards dropped so low that commoners are now in the advanced class. The snobbery continues as they laugh, treating the new arrivals like trash that needs to be taken out. 2 second-years step up, demanding a proper greeting. A hesitant, quiet greeting is offered back. The demand turns bizarre and incredibly rude. A pair of sinister schemers emerge from the shadows with chilling grins. Their twisted intentions are hidden behind these predatory smiles. They find it absolutely unacceptable that a commoner would dare dress like a noble. The demand is repeated, louder and crueler than before. Pure terror takes hold as his eyes widen in disbelief. He's staring straight into the face of his worst nightmare. The countdown to disaster begins in his mind. He can barely believe the audacity of these bullies. The tension is so thick you could choke on it. He calls out for help, desperate to change the tide. The tension reaches a breaking point as a terrified man bolts for his life, desperate to escape an unseen pursuer. One wrong step and it's all over for him. A stand is taken. Status shouldn't dictate who gets to be a student. Urian is actually having fun with this. Someone's a bit of a chaotic gremlin, aren't they? He pleads for them to stop, warning them that their behavior is bringing shame upon the school. The bullies are offended that a mere student would dare lecture them. They demand respect, clearly unaware of who they're messing with. Ella's name is called out in a desperate cry. A brutal strike lands, sending a spray of blood flying. The target is caught off guard by the lightning-fast assault. A chilling realization stops him dead in his tracks. Those wide, trembling eyes reveal a truth he never saw coming. Wide-eyed and trembling, he stares into the face of absolute terror. The reality of the situation hits him like a freight train. The noble looks down on them, calling them nothing but trash. Haiwan watches the scene unfold, his expression unreadable. He's put in charge of the freshman class, though he claims he's just bored. His colleague tries to lighten the mood, but he stays as blunt as ever. The talk of the town is how this year's class is going to make history. They discuss the siblings, the ones everyone is whispering about. Despite the protests from the elite, they were granted a spot in the advanced class. There's no denying the sister has talent, even if she is a commoner. She infused her sword with mana instinctively, a feat even some nobles fail to master. If she had been born into a noble house, her path would have been paved with gold. Everyone agrees. Miss Ella is a cut above the rest. But the brother? That's a different story entirely. G insisted he had potential, but the proof is nowhere to be found. Unlike his sister, he hasn't shown a single shred of evidence for his rank. Yet, he remains in the seat of a special admission student. There's a hidden meaning behind this decision, one that leaves everyone guessing. Haiwan questions if the school's foundation is actually working as intended. The dream of the school was to nurture talent regardless of bloodline. In reality, it's just a playground for nobles to polish their egos. He fears this corruption will eventually lead to the kingdom's collapse. He's a fighter, not a philosopher, but he trusts that things will eventually change for the better. The conversation circles back to the meaning of the brothers' inclusion. A sudden, sharp look cuts through the room. The tension between them has reached a breaking point. They notice the bullying happening right outside the window and realize they have to act fast. The order is given to watch and wait. A classic let's see what happens move. He's dying to know why this student was really brought in. The demand for respect is screamed once more. Ella is put on the defensive as the situation explodes. Eyes wide and breath hitched, he's frozen in total shock. Something has just shattered his world. The silence is shattered as a foot drags across the ground, signaling a tense and ominous arrival. Every step inches closer to an inevitable confrontation. Urian shouts for Ella to get to the infirmary before things get worse. He vows to drag the bullies to the disciplinary department himself. The bullies are baffled. They think they own the place at 15. They can't comprehend why they're being challenged. Cold sweat pours down as he realizes he's completely outmatched. Terror paralyzes him in the face of an unstoppable nightmare. He struggles to break free from his captor's grip. He never even saw the attack coming. Urian loses his cool the moment he sees Ella hurt. Seeing his sister struck was the final straw. A devastating, energy-charged punch slams into the target with bone-shattering force. There's no escaping this explosive strike. The air crackles with mana as he unleashes his hidden power. The bullies are left reeling, wondering how a trash student could be this strong. He wants to retaliate, but he knows he can't blow his cover just yet. The situation is spiraling out of control. A grunt of pain escapes as he's sent flying back. Pure rage consumes him as he clenches his fists, ready to explode. The tension in his eyes says it all. Someone is about to pay. He spits in disgust, his pride wounded. Nigel calls for magic, turning the schoolyard into a battlefield. They shout about restoring their dignity as seniors, but they're clearly just sore losers. Using magic on campus is supposed to be forbidden, but who cares about rules when you're this mad? They yell at anyone trying to stop them. Jade is told to get out of the way. This is about to get ugly. Urian is still there, ignoring the order to leave. He's got other plans. He's already taken care of her wounds, and now he's focused on revenge. Tensions reach a breaking point as a sudden, aggressive strike catches the target completely off guard. Fear flashes in his eyes as he realizes he's completely outmatched. Pure terror freezes his face as the reality of the situation hits home. He's completely caught off guard by the nightmare unfolding right before his eyes. A chilling realization stops them in their tracks. Tension spikes as they lock eyes, caught in the grip of a devastating truth. He checks on Ella, making sure she's safe before turning back to the fight. A cold, calculating smirk flickers across his face as he prepares to strike. This innocent look is just the calm before the storm. The bullies are left speechless, unable to process what they just saw. The tension hits a breaking point as terror grips the group. One student collapses in shock while the others tremble in sheer panic. He points the finger, demanding answers. Did they know he was this dangerous when they let him in? With a sharp, piercing gaze, the silver-haired master turns to confront his destiny. The tension in the room spikes as he locks eyes with his next target. He asks what's going on, his voice dripping with icy calm. They are baffled. How is she completely healed already? Urian doesn't even bother with a humble explanation. He just calls them stupid. Brutal. They try to halt the confrontation, but it's way too late for that. If you're enjoying this recap, smash that like button and subscribe for more. The magic of healing is on full display. Bruised and battered, they stand defiant against the darkness. The fight is far from over. They realize this isn't just basic magic. It's something far more advanced. A flick of the wand sparks pure magic. Witness the heartwarming moment as a simple spell brings a dazzling smile to life. Normally, a spell like this takes ages, but that's not the case here. In other words, they are witnessing something impossible. It's supposed to take 5 minutes minimum, but he did it in a blink. The message is clear. Stop doing things that defy the common sense of this world. The rules of magic have just been rewritten, and everyone is reeling. They had absolutely no idea he was capable of this. Terror freezes his soul as a bone-chilling realization takes hold. He's caught completely off guard by the nightmare unfolding before him. The realization hits hard. This is what a special admission student actually looks like. That's it, the mask is off. The school authorities finally intervene, reminding everyone that fighting is strictly prohibited. They wonder where she came from. She's been watching the whole time. With a piercing gaze and an aura of cold authority, she turns to face her next challenge head-on. Don't let her beauty fool you. Her eyes hold a warning that spells trouble for anyone in her path. The tension in the air is palpable as the school year kicks off with a bang. The instructor barks at the students, barely tolerating their presence at this grand entrance ceremony. The students scramble to apologize, though they're clearly plotting their revenge behind the teacher's back. They stumble into their private room, eyes popping at the sight of actual luxury. A real bed. The excitement is off the charts as they celebrate their new, high-class living situation. Their laughter echoes through the halls, completely unaware of the dangers ahead. Urian stands there, looking as mysterious as ever. She's stunned, marveling at Urian's insane healing abilities that seem to defy all logic. Urian plays it cool, pretending he didn't realize he was doing anything particularly legendary. She worries that their paths might diverge, but she's sure he's destined for greatness. Urian turns, his expression unreadable. Wide-eyed and trembling, he stares into the face of absolute terror. The sudden shock hits him like a lightning bolt. He refuses to back down, his spirit burning brighter than ever. He pledges his loyalty, determined to stick by Urian's side in the elite advanced class. They share a moment of solidarity, vowing to lift each other up no matter what. A firm nod seals the deal. The duo is ready to take on the world. The homeroom professor makes her entrance, her eyes scanning the room for any signs of weakness. She introduces herself, her presence commanding instant silence. Haiwan sets the stage, promising a partnership that might just be a total nightmare. The students are floored. Their teacher is a legendary hero resident. This class just got real. They whisper in shock, realizing they've hit the jackpot, or perhaps a death sentence. She taunts them about their fancy beds, reminding them that privilege comes with a price tag. The reality sinks in. Ordinary students don't get these perks, and they'll be fighting tooth and nail to keep them. Every luxury is a reminder of their status, and every status can be taken away in a heartbeat. Pride swells in their chests, though they have no idea how much trouble they're actually in. But then the mood shifts. The professor drops the bombshell. There is a brutal demotion system. A devious smirk plays on her lips as she silences the room with a single, chilling gesture. Her burning gaze promises nothing but absolute chaos. She spells it out clearly. If their grades slip, they're tossed back into the ordinary class without a second thought. She hits them with a terrifying statistic about the previous year. The number of survivors? Absolutely zero. She grins, genuinely curious to see which one of these poor souls will be the first to fail. She's practically vibrating with anticipation at the thought of watching them crumble. With a flick of her hand, the nightmare begins. The students freeze, realizing they might have bitten off more than they can chew. The challenge is laid out, and it's not for the faint of heart. A cold, calculating smirk spreads across his face as he realizes his trap is perfectly set. There's no turning back now. He's already calculating the odds, and he likes his chances. The pressure deepens, making it hard to even breathe. The stakes have never been higher as our hero steps into the prestigious advanced class. Only the elite survive here. Let the real test begin. The grading system is ruthless, designed to weed out the weak with surgical precision. The numbers are abysmal. The advanced class is an exclusive club that almost nobody gets to stay in. Everyone knows that graduation here is a golden ticket, but first you have to actually graduate. One slip-up, one bad test, and you're back to being a nobody. The fear of losing that hard-earned prestige is enough to make anyone sweat. She reminds them once more of the grim reality. The previous year's graduates? None. A big, fat zero. A cold, calculating smirk dances on his lips as he hides his true intentions. Beneath that innocent gaze lies a dangerous secret waiting to be unleashed. The name of the class itself feels like a curse now. The stage is set for an epic journey where true power hides in the shadows. Prepare for the ultimate display of strength kept secret from the world. The masked assassin strikes with lethal precision, catching his target in a brutal mid-air ambush. Blood spills as the silent killer executes his flawless plan. The first lesson starts, and it's not what anyone expected. A swift, decisive strike echoes through the air. The action ignites in a flash of intensity. They stare at the board in complete confusion. Is this really the legendary curriculum they were promised? It's math. Simple, soul-crushing elementary math. One student finally gathers the courage to speak up. The teacher ignores the protest, demanding focus on the numbers. Why are they here for magic if they're just going to do arithmetic? The teacher turns the question back on them, challenging their very motivation. The student tries to sound heroic, but the teacher is already bored with the answer. She drops a truth bomb. True power doesn't come from mana alone. She points to her head, emphasizing the real weapon. It's all about knowledge, the one thing money can't buy. With the right information, a weakling can become a titan. She uses a fire spell as an example, daring them to explain the mechanics. The student shouts the obvious answer. More mana. She gives a curt nod, acknowledging the answer, but it's not the right one. That's the brute force approach, and it's exactly why they're failing. She shifts her gaze to the girl with the hair bun, putting her on the spot. The student is stumped. What happens when the mana well runs dry? She guesses they need backup, but she's clearly grasping at straws. The teacher shakes her head, wrong again. She explains the elegant solution, a way to win without wasting precious resources. It's not magic. It's physics. It's all about the wind, baby. A little science, a little fire, and suddenly you've got a furnace on your hands. That's the power of knowledge, and it's why they're all currently looking like idiots. Lesson over, test time begins. Let's see who actually has a brain in that skull. The students scramble, their pens flying across the paper. The test is a nightmare of complex symbols and impossible equations. Time is up. Drop those pens before you lose a finger. The answer sheet is revealed, and the atmosphere turns icy. Only 3 people aced it. Talk about a humbling experience. The princess takes her spot at the top, no surprise there. Reizo rounds out the top 3, looking smug as ever. Urien notices his neighbor is sweating buckets. Did he actually fail? That's a social death sentence right there. He was a top performer during admissions, so what happened to his brain? Urien couldn't care less about rankings, which is a massive flex. He promises to do better, but his heart clearly isn't in it. The final perfect score is announced, and the room goes deathly silent. It's Urien. Of course it's Urien. Her wide, stunned eyes reveal a chilling truth she never saw coming. Everything she thought she knew is about to shatter. An eerie, hollow smile spreads across her face as her void-like eyes stare straight into your soul. She's hiding something truly terrifying behind that blank expression. With a gaze as cold as ice, He locks eyes with his target. No one can escape that piercing stare. The commoner actually beat the nobles at their own game. Urian stands tall, the unexpected king of the classroom. The silence is so heavy you could suffocate on it. A chilling smile masks a deadly secret. Don't let that innocent face fool you. The trap is already set. The numbers don't lie, and they're screaming Urian's name. With a mischievous glint in his eye, he strikes a pose of pure, unbothered confidence. That smug smile says it all. He's already 3 steps ahead of everyone else. The tension breaks into awkward laughter. The rivalry is officially on, and the stakes just hit the ceiling. The teacher isn't done. She's got one more surprise for her little pets. A mysterious token is revealed, holding the key to a long-buried secret. The game is finally afoot. An explosive surge of raw mana erupts from her very core. The classroom trembles as she unleashes a blinding display of power. A flurry of deadly projectiles streaks across the magic circle, sealing the target's fate. No one can escape this lethal barrage. She tosses the badges at them, the ultimate symbol of their fleeting status. Clip it on, and the school is officially your playground. Need a 5-star meal? You've got the key now. A decadent feast fit for a king is laid out in all its mouth-watering glory. Every dish is perfectly prepared and ready to satisfy an insatiable appetite. It's meat. Glorious, delicious meat. The hunger is real. They're shoveling food into their faces like they haven't eaten in a month. The goal is clear. Stay in this class until graduation or die trying. Urian keeps the morale high, even if he's secretly plotting a coup. Hard work is the name of the game, and they're ready to grind. A culinary masterpiece hits the plate, perfectly seared and waiting to be devoured. This succulent feast is an absolute explosion of flavor that demands immediate attention. The professor interrupts the gluttony. Time for the monster hunting class. This isn't a drill. This is a graded exercise, and failure means immediate expulsion. He's feeling bold, aiming for that top spot like a total pro. She reminds them that they're still just pathetic freshmen. They're getting partners, and these seniors look absolutely delightful. Hunting monsters with the seniors? What could possibly go wrong? The seniors greet them with smiles that definitely don't look suspicious at all. Teamwork is the key, and they better get along or get out. Urian knows exactly what this means: trouble. He's already calculating the cost of this disaster. The seniors are clearly looking to make some easy targets out of these arrogant freshmen. One bad report and their grades are going to hit the floor. They promise to be angels or demons. We all know which one they're picking. She begs them to just play nice and survive the day. She's desperate to keep her spot, no matter how much dignity she has to sacrifice. The trap is closing in on them. They have to survive, but the seniors are clearly looking for a fight. Do they even want them to succeed? Or is this just a power trip? They can't just stand there and take it. The seniors are going to tank their scores. A single, piercing gaze locks onto the target with lethal intensity. The trap is set, and there's no turning back now. Urian steps forward, his voice calm, but his eyes are burning. He's proposing a bet, and the room goes deathly silent. The seniors are insulted. Who does this commoner think he is? They're about to find out, and it's going to be glorious. Urian doubles down, daring them to take the bait. They think he's crazy, but they're clearly rattled by his confidence. The challenge is issued, and the seniors can't back down now without losing face. The bet is on, and the air is thick with impending violence. Time to grab the weapons. Let's see who really runs this school. It's a mock battle, but someone's getting embarrassed today. It's real steel, so try not to die, okay? If you're enjoying this recap, smash that like button and subscribe for more. He taunts them with a sinister cackle, whispering that no teacher will ever know if their injuries came from a monster or a human. A mock battle? He's clearly got something much more twisted in mind. Panic sets in as they realize the gravity of the situation. He's demanding they face him with real, sharpened steel. He promises to go easy on them if they win, laughing all the while. Someone clearly enjoys the sound of his own voice way too much. They fire back, insisting they aren't as weak as he thinks, clutching their weapons with trembling hands. She exclaims with pure joy, realizing she might actually secure her spot in the advanced class after all. Urian turns to his sister, laughing as he tells her to pick any sword she wants for the carnage ahead. No holding back. It's a total bloodbath in the making. A deceptive calm hangs over the forest, masking the storm that's about to break. Beneath this tranquil sky, a deadly confrontation is brewing. A razor-sharp blade slices through the air with lethal speed. There's no escaping this strike. He lets out a primal battle cry, ready to tear through the opposition. Pure terror takes hold as he realizes there's no turning back. His eyes widen in disbelief at the nightmare unfolding right before him. He freezes, the realization dawning on him with cold, hard clarity. The crimson-haired warrior draws her shimmering blade, eyes locked on the target with lethal intent. There's no turning back now. The battle begins. Her pupils dilate as pure, unadulterated shock grips her soul. Something truly unthinkable just went down. A brutal, bone-jarring strike connects, sending the target reeling from the sheer force of the impact. There's no holding back now as raw violence erupts in a single, devastating blow. The countdown to disaster begins, and the tension is absolutely suffocating. He screams for Nigel to cast a protection spell immediately, his voice cracking under the pressure of the impending doom. Nigel shouts for super armor, desperately trying to reinforce their defenses before they're turned into confetti. He yells for more speed, pushing his body to the absolute limit to avoid a gruesome fate. Time stands still as a sharp, piercing gaze locks onto the target. Everything else fades into a blur of pure, high-stakes intensity. Space itself tears apart with a deafening screech. Reality is unraveling at the seams. He channels every ounce of his remaining strength, desperate to turn the tide. Sinister energy erupts from the palm, crackling with raw, lethal power. A dark awakening begins right before our eyes. He stares at his own equipment, wondering if his staff is enough to survive the onslaught. He draws the demon sword, the blade pulsing with a dark, hungry light. The young protagonist summons a terrifying blade of pure darkness. With one swift motion, he unleashes his hidden power upon the forest. He shouts that taking down the sorcerer first is just common sense in a fight like this. A classic strategy, but will it work? He groans, realizing he's been backed into a corner and has no choice but to go all out. He rallies his allies, screaming that they have to take out the enemy sorcerer immediately. He plants his feet firmly, refusing to let his opponents succeed in their dark plan. He lets out a guttural roar, surging forward to clash with his rival. A chilling, crooked smirk spreads across his face, signaling that his dark plan is finally in motion. He gasps, stunned by the sheer malice radiating from the scene. He screams that the situation has spiraled completely out of control. It's too dangerous to stay. He spots a monster lurking in the shadows, his blood running cold as he realizes they aren't alone. He cries out for Urian, desperate to warn him of the hidden threat. She looks back, her voice barely a whisper as she calls out to her comrade. He shouts Ella's name, his heart pounding in his chest as he watches the battle unfold. A surge of raw, crackling power erupts from his fingertips. The air itself shatters as he unleashes his hidden might. He draws the demon sword, a weapon of legend that hungers for souls. With a furious roar, he unleashes a swirling vortex of dark energy. His lethal strike is locked and loaded for total destruction. He lunges forward with a battle cry, putting everything on the line. The beast has finally snapped, unleashing a blood-soaked fury that knows no mercy. One lethal strike from those razor-sharp fangs is all it takes to seal a gruesome fate. She lets out a shrill scream, paralyzed by the sheer horror of the beast before her. He stares in utter disbelief, unable to process how someone could take down such a monster with a single blow. He checks on his sister, relieved to see she's okay despite the overwhelming danger they just faced. Pure, unadulterated terror washes over his face. He's just realized he's staring death in the eyes. He can't believe what he's seeing. This is beyond anything he prepared for. He frantically offers his vest to Ella, desperate to provide some form of protection in the madness. He bites his tongue in frustration, fuming over his own inability to end this fight quickly. He coldly declares that they've passed the test, promising no bad reports will be filed. Talk about a keep-your-mouth-shut kind of deal. He spits on the ground, swearing that he will never acknowledge a commoner, no matter how much power they display. He mocks the protection spell, sneering that it's all that stands between the commoner and death. Talk about a sore loser. He taunts his rival, claiming they're nothing without their support and lack the strength to hunt monsters alone. He shrugs off the insult with a hollow laugh, finding the irony in the situation. He stares blankly, truly wondering if he's even capable of being more than a side character. He realizes he's been reduced to the role of a perfect extra in someone else's drama. He reflects on how things were supposed to go, before the chaos ruined everything. He mutters to himself about how this joint class was never part of the original plan. She laughs it off, claiming these surprise joint sessions happen all the time. Sure they do, and I'm the King of England. He looks confused, questioning if this is really allowed during school hours. She insists that the second years are top tier and deserve a break, even if the seniority dynamic is getting weirdly informal. He hums, suspicious of the entire situation but unable to put his finger on why. An unsettling tension hides behind their forced, wide-eyed smiles. Don't let the friendly atmosphere fool you. There's something deeply suspicious lurking beneath the surface. She asks if her students will be safe, her voice trembling slightly under the weight of her concern. They burst into forced laughter, assuring her that everything is perfectly fine. That laugh is so fake it's practically vibrating. The laughter continues, but it sounds more like a warning than a sign of mirth. A steady hand grips the steaming cup, concealing a deadly secret. The tension is brewing hotter than the tea. He wonders if he should actually praise their courage for stepping into this mess. Or perhaps he should just let them meet their end. A chilling silence fills the air as an ominous aura radiates from the mysterious figure. The atmosphere shatters under the weight of an unseen, terrifying presence. The atmosphere shatters as chilling realization strikes them both. Fear paralyzes the room in this moment of pure, unadulterated shock. The battlefield's Iron Lady pauses for a fleeting moment of respite. With a deep breath, she savors the calm before the storm. He suggests they just wait it out, hoping the trouble passes them by. He realizes these attackers are connected to a much larger, more dangerous organization. He asks if they are of the family that wields the demonic sword, his eyes narrowing as he recognizes the clan, Jade. He confirms that they've ensured the commoner siblings aren't around, leaving only Jade to deal with. A cold sweat breaks as pure shock widens those piercing blue eyes. Something truly terrifying has just come into view. He nods, satisfied that the plan is moving along exactly as intended. He stares at the boy, calculating his next move. He identifies his target, Jade, the one tasked with the dirty work. He steps forward to offer some unsolicited, high-level advice to the Rank 1 student. He reveals that the second-year group is now infamous, known throughout the school as the Devil's Denver. He stands tall, though his nameplate is obscured by the chaotic energy of the moment. He holds the top rank among them, a position that commands both fear and respect. He points to the boy, identifying him as the center of their power. He demands total obedience, reminding everyone that he took the top spot in the entrance exams for a reason. He recalls the day of the entrance ceremony, a day that changed everything for him. The ceremony itself was just the beginning of a much darker journey. He scoffs, refusing to be intimidated by a simple rank, reminding them that they are nobles too. The advanced class has been a battlefield since day one. He notes that his dominance was only unchallenged until things started going south. The scene is marked by the shadows of the void, a silent witness to the carnage. A desperate prayer rises from blood-stained hands. Even in the depths of slaughter, the plea for salvation begins. The cold gaze of a leader looms over his hollowed-out puppets. Their souls have been stripped away, leaving nothing but mindless vessels under his dark command. He demands to know why the entire second-year advanced class has gathered here, and why Jade is involved. He mentions he's heard whispers about Jade's family, and none of them are good. He calls them the crumbling demonic sword family, laying the weight of their legacy on Jade's shoulders. He warns that if Jade fails to graduate, his entire family is finished. Talk about high stakes. He shouts in confusion, unable to comprehend the nature of the magic tool before him. He asks why commoners are acting like mana swords are everyday toys, his pride stung by their proficiency. He calls out to his father, seeking guidance in this impossible situation. He describes the terrifying weaponry: a wand that conjures water, a sword that breathes fire, things that shouldn't be so easy to wield. He laughs at Jade, mocking the boy for his weakness and hesitation. He screams at Jade, his voice filled with a mix of fury and desperation. He commands Jade to graduate from the advanced class no matter what it takes, or everyone will pay the price. He insists that they must prove the demonic sword family still has teeth, even if they have to kill to do it. He repeats the ultimatum: failure is not an option for the sake of their survival. He drives the point home. If Jade fails, his mother and siblings will be the first to suffer the consequences. He makes a cold promise. He will ensure Jade graduates, but there's a heavy price to pay. He questions the very concept of graduation, wondering if it's even worth the cost. He reveals that the class is being watched by people with power far beyond their comprehension. He explains that they have a mission, and completing it guarantees their graduation. He scoffs, claiming that for these higher-ups, graduation is nothing more than a trivial favor. He tells Jade to just go to the commoner siblings and follow the instructions. It's that simple. He feigns kindness, saying he's only helping because of the family's rough patch. Yeah, sure, he's a regular saint. Absolute terror grips his face as a shocking realization hits home. Whatever he just witnessed has left him completely paralyzed. He tells Jade this is his big chance to finally be a proper son. They rush over, asking Jade if he's all right and if he was hurt by the seniors. They express their concern, wondering where the seniors went and if they're planning more trouble. They panic, fearing that the seniors are off to report their poor teamwork to the teachers. Shock hits like a lightning bolt. His eyes widen in pure, unadulterated disbelief. He cries out for Nuna, his voice filled with sudden, sharp alarm. A jagged streak of dark energy cleaves through the air with lethal precision. The atmosphere shatters as an unstoppable force tears across the battlefield. He calls the attack a harsh joke, though the blood on the ground suggests otherwise. He warns Urian to be careful. The danger is escalating too fast. He notes the high-voltage power between the swords, warning that healing won't be easy once you're hit. He praises Jade's skill with the demonic sword, though his tone is dripping with sarcasm. He asks Urian and Ella to stay exactly where they are. He doesn't want them moving anymore. He admits the seniors told him to hoard all the points for himself, leaving none for the others. He insists he needs to stay in the advanced class, telling the commoners it's fine if they drop out. Talk about a selfish move. He promises to save them after the class is over, a hollow apology for the violence he's about to commit. They look at Jade, confused by his sudden change in behavior. They wonder what Jade is planning to do next, their eyes full of suspicion. He recalls the command to cut off the commoner siblings' limbs, a brutal order he's expected to fulfill. He wonders if he's going to defy the powerful figures pulling the strings. Battered and bloodied, he stares in absolute shock as his world crumbles before him. The pain is immense, but the terror in his eyes tells a far darker story. He repeats the command: find the siblings and end their ability to fight once and for all. He notes that the higher-ups are offended that commoners are even allowed in this school. He clarifies the mission: assassinate the commoner students before the class concludes. He reveals that the other teachers are being kept away by the higher-ups to ensure the operation goes smoothly. He sums it up in one word: total annihilation. They must complete the mission at all costs. With a gaze that cuts through the silence, he sits in chilling, hollow contemplation. Something dark is brewing behind those vacant eyes. He reminds himself that disappointing the higher-ups is a death sentence. He tells himself this is the only way to save his family, to be the good son they need. He whispers his own name, as if trying to remember who he was before all this. Battered and bloodied, he stares down death with a look of pure, unyielding defiance. The fight is far from over. He expresses his confusion, wondering why Jade is hesitating when the stakes are so clear. He snaps back, declaring that they aren't just poor commoners. They're worth much more than that. If you're enjoying this recap, smash that like button and subscribe for more. The secret is out. Ella and Urian have been spotted together. The onlookers are skeptical, wondering how they could possibly get that close after only a couple of days in the academy. She vehemently denies that their bond is born from mere acting. She argues that Ella's sword skills are more than enough to earn her place in the advanced class. While Urian might be a total disaster when it comes to magic, the logic holds steady. He's got the brains to back it up, even if his spellcasting is a tragic comedy. She beams with confidence, predicting that he will one day lead the kingdom to a golden age. His healing touch is nothing short of miraculous, saving lives left and right. The future looks bright as she envisions him curing the sick throughout the entire land. Both of them are destined for greatness, and nothing can stop them now. Battered and bruised, he stares into the abyss of defeat with eyes wide in shock. The battle has pushed him to his absolute limit. She declares that they represent a future far brighter than any status-obsessed noble could ever dream of. A moment of hesitation flickers in the air. Perhaps she actually has a point. But the mood shifts instantly as the villain reminds them that for their family, only pure despair remains. Interfering with a high-ranking noble is a death sentence for their family's reputation. He mocks their naive, innocent siblings who have no idea how cruel the world truly is. The siblings arrive, blissfully unaware of the danger, calling out to their hero. They are bursting with pride, celebrating his third-place achievement in the advanced class. He forces a smile, playing along with their excitement despite the looming threat. They cheer, completely oblivious to the blood and malice surrounding them. They ask if their father will finally be able to smile again now that things are looking up. They dream of a happy future, unaware that their world is about to come crashing down. The world stops as the truth finally hits home. Total shock washes over him in this heart-stopping moment. He keeps up the act, telling them to just keep believing in him. He promises he'll graduate from the advanced class no matter what it takes. A sinister offer hangs in the air. Just hold the noble's hand, and everything will be fine. The villain laughs at his priorities, questioning why he'd choose his family over the kingdom's future. He warns that no teacher is coming to save these commoners from their grim fate today. He urges him to just get it over with and kill them, claiming he doesn't actually hate him. He offers a path to a successful life as a noble side by side. A desperate reach through the blood and chaos. Will they finally grasp salvation before it's too late? The tension is so thick you could slice it with a dull butter knife. He rejects the offer with everything he has. He'd never betray his own blood. Both his friends and his family are his entire world, and he won't let them go. He vows to protect them all, no matter the cost. A cold, calculating gaze locks onto the target. The predator has finally emerged from the shadows. The villain warns him that he will live to regret this moment of defiance. The situation is dire. The second-year elites have come to hunt down our commoner protagonists. Sinister energy surges through his hand, marking the awakening of a terrifying new power. Jade is stepping up to the plate, risking it all to shield them from the elites. The tension skyrockets as a mysterious power flares to life in his palm. He's locked in a silent, high-stakes standoff that's about to explode. A cold, piercing gaze freezes the air as he locks onto his next target. The predator has finally revealed himself. Even the enemy admits it, He's surprisingly strong for his station. He's made his choice, and there's no turning back from the path of violence. He can't stand by and watch his friends get slaughtered. Battered and bloodied, he stares into the abyss with eyes wide in shock. The brutal reality of the battlefield has finally caught up to him. He realizes that Urian is now in the crosshairs of these monsters. The threat is chilling. He's going to strike 10 times. He vows to stab him 10 times before finishing off the innocent siblings. A short, deadly dagger appears. It's going to be a long, painful day. The world shatters as pure, unadulterated shock takes hold. Stained with fresh blood, his eyes widen in total disbelief at the carnage unfolding. He feels his body failing him, paralyzed by the enemy's technique. With a cold, emotionless gaze, he drives the cursed blade straight through his target. The betrayal is swift, brutal, and final. He explains his preference for daggers over long swords with sickening casualness. He likes the intimacy of seeing his victims suffer up close. 9 stabs remaining, the countdown to death has begun. The ability to seal movement is revealed, and honestly, it's just as gross as it sounds. They didn't start this fight, but they've been forced into a corner with no escape. Laurel doesn't fight. He simply dismantles his opponents. It's not a battle. It's just a one-sided massacre. He taunts him, counting down the seconds until the next strike. The clock is ticking. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. For seconds left until the pain returns. 1 second to go. Prepare for impact. The strike lands with devastating precision. Once again, his body betrays him, locking up under the curse. Betrayal strikes in the blink of an eye as a cold blade plunges into his back. The shocking assassination leaves him broken and defenseless. A pained grunt escapes him as the steel finds its mark. The villain delights in his expression, clearly enjoying the suffering. The countdown begins again. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. For the end is approaching rapidly. He prepares to strike, his spear aimed for the kill. Dark energy erupts from his back as he unleashes a terrifying, hidden power. The atmosphere shatters under the weight of his overwhelming aura. The spectators are stunned by the sheer volume of spears he's conjuring. Bloodied and bruised, he lunges forward with eyes burning in a desperate, unyielding rage. There is no turning back now. A ruthless blade pierces through the hand in a spray of crimson. The brutal strike leaves no room for mercy. A gut-wrenching scream echoes through the area. 10, 9, 8. The countdown continues relentlessly. He calls out to Urian, hoping against hope that he's still in the fight. He realizes the score he was told was nothing but a dirty lie. He worries for Jade, fearing those seniors have cornered him once again. He figures he can handle these 2 idiots, but there's a bad vibe in the air. If you're enjoying this recap, smash that like button and subscribe for more. An ominous feeling settles in his gut. Something bad is definitely about to happen. The victim collapses in a pool of blood, leaving his assailant frozen in sheer, trembling shock. The weight of the kill has just hit home. A hiccup of pure terror escapes his lips. His partner snaps at him, losing patience with his hesitation. He tells him to get lost if he's going to chicken out now. They didn't come here to play games. They came to kill. The lackey stammers an apology, terrified of his own team. He calls out to Jade, wondering if he's still breathing. The villain sneers, declaring that all his efforts to protect the siblings were ultimately useless. He mocks his actions, claiming they only ensured his family's downfall. He taunts Jade, asking if he feels any regret for the state he's in. He questions why he's throwing his life away for nothing. He dangles a final chance to switch sides and kill the commoners to survive. 5 seconds, that's all the time he has before he can move again. 10 seconds of waiting for his power to reset. He asks if knowing the mechanics of his power changes anything at all. He demands an answer, his patience wearing thin. Another scream of agony rings out as the torture continues. The calm shatters as a lethal glint ignites in his eyes. There's no turning back now. The hunt is officially on. The villain is frustrated. Why won't Jade just listen to reason? He reminds him that his graduation depends on falling in line. He can't fathom why anyone would sacrifice so much for commoners. Battered and broken, he hits the floor as the brutal onslaught leaves him clinging to consciousness. Is this the end for our fallen hero? He lets out a defiant laugh. He explains exactly why he refuses to submit to a monster like him. He defends his choice to protect the innocent, regardless of their status. He points out the sad truth. The villain has no one who actually cares about him. He pities him, noting that he's truly a pathetic excuse for a person. The verbal takedown is almost as sharp as the blades they're fighting with. A cold-blooded strike pierces through his foe. The silence is shattered as life fades in a single, brutal motion. Blood stains his face as he locks onto his target with a lethal, hollow gaze. The tension is at a breaking point. With blood staining his cheek and eyes wide with intensity, he stares down his enemy with pure, unadulterated malice. The tension reaches a breaking point as he prepares to unleash absolute chaos. A brutal surprise attack leaves them wounded and desperate on the forest floor. The battle has just taken a turn for the worse. A confused shout rings out. Wait, what just happened? The idea of monopolizing the score is thrown into doubt. He warns them not to even think about acting up again. A surge of mystical power erupts, leaving the wounded boy reeling in total shock. Everything changes in a single, glowing heartbeat. He gasps, realizing Urian has finally arrived. Complete instant healing. The rumors were actually true. He turns his attention to the senior bastards, his eyes filled with wrath. He promises they aren't getting out of this fight in one piece. He singles out the ominous-looking guy for special treatment. He tells them to prepare for the end. The mask slips as a chilling grin spreads across his face, revealing the pure, unadulterated madness lurking beneath. He's finally stopped holding back, and his enemies are about to pay the ultimate price. The score is tied 0-1. The atmosphere shatters as a chilling, mysterious presence descends. He's here, and his cold gaze spells nothing but trouble. A chilling, calculated smirk spreads across his face as his overwhelming power flares to life. He's not just playing games anymore, he's ready to dominate.